Good evening, everybody in the reborn community, or at least all the nice people anyway. Oh, I have my little sweet, sweet Maggie here, and she is the Ariella sculpt by Reva Schick, and she was reborn by Marilyn from Memory Dolls. Just a little bit of a history. So, as you can see by the title, I'm about to get into some heavy stuff here. So I just want to, I've been watching a lot lately about people's journeys and why they collect these beautiful, beautiful babies, and why, yeah, so this is a little hard for me. So I guess I'll start when I was younger, like when I was, say, 17, 18. I grew up, I was a late bloomer in everything, and emotional, mental, physical, as far as physical body, and as far as hormones. I didn't get my period until the age of 19, and I didn't get it automatically. In order for me to get my period, I have to take birth control pills, and that'll regulate me. But when you take birth control pills, then obviously that's also, you know what that is. And so I started really late. I was a late bloomer. Boys did not like me in school. I didn't know if it was because of my disabilities, or because I was a big girl, or because I just didn't have the body that they were looking for. And in some cases, I know that's a blessing in disguise. So my first real boyfriend, well, I had a friend. His name was Andrew. You go back to the diary entries, which I gotta start again soon. And we kind of went on and off a little bit. He was more of a friend. When I liked him in a certain way, he didn't like me back that way. And then when I was over him, then he'd start liking me that way. I think he was bisexual for years, and then he just, I'm not saying, and then he told me later that he was full-on gay. So, that couldn't happen. So let me start undressing the little mess. And then my first love I met when I was 25. That was back when you put a personal ad out in the newspaper. Single white female looking for da-da-da-da-da. I met somebody. At first I thought he was a really great guy. He was cute on looks. And within the first 5 months, this was right after my grandmother passed away, so I wasn't exactly thinking. I moved in with him after about 5 months, and it took us about 4 months later, then we started having sex. And after being with him for about a year, I realized that something's going on. I'm not, usually there'd be a period would be late or whatever, but then again I was taking the birth control, so it was very confusing to me. I've always wanted children. I've always watched my nieces and nephews, and I've just known in my heart that I've always wanted children. And so after that didn't work out. He became abusive. Not terribly physically, but mentally and verbally very abusive. And I dropped him after about a year. And then I grew up in a secular household. I wasn't taught a whole lot of values and morals. The only ones that I was taught was by my grandmother. And The only escape that I had was going to my friend's house in the ghetto. And she was not, oh, look at those tootsies, a really well-rounded person. So then I had a little few flings here and there, nothing serious. And then about 5 years after I dropped the first guy, I met somebody. I probably should have known that it wasn't going to work out because he bought pot for us in the neighborhood. But he was somebody, and I was lonely. And I'd rather have somebody than nobody. So I dealt a lot with this stuff. And we started having relations about 5 months after I met him. And we were on and off for many years. He later on got very clinically depressed, and when you live with somebody that was clinically depressed, you're not even allowed to be yourself anymore. I would find myself in these relationships becoming who they wanted me to be instead of giving an extended person of who I am with them. So after that, when my grandmother died, I went out and I did a lot of things with a lot of guys, and I went on the computer and showed pictures and did all the things you're not supposed to do, and I went on these websites, and I was just so kind of desperate for a man, for just anybody, because I was so lonely. This is not making me out to look like a good person here, but I was. That was the case of it, and I needed somebody that I could get away with, that could be my anchor to something, even if it wasn't all positive. So I went on and off with him for quite a while. We were shacking up, if you will. And then I had a mentor come in my life, and I answered God's call about 10 years ago, and have been celibate ever since. God showed me what it was to be patient with myself. God showed me what it was to be, to have morals, to respect myself, to respect my body. And I didn't know that. I mean, I was, browbeaten and belittled, and my whole life was, you're disabled, so you're not a good person. You're disabled, so you're not worth anything. And besides my grandmother instilling all these things, it was not, my childhood, my growing up was not, it was just me being a tag along to everybody else. So I already had a complex about that. And in all these relationships and all these flings, if you will, I never once had a false alarm, oh, I might be pregnant. And my relationship with the second guy, I wanted to be pregnant so bad I talked my body into thinking that I was, so therefore that I acted like it. My boobs started hurting, my feet started swelling so bad. I felt my stomach like getting hard, and so I went to the doctor, and they said no, and I refused to listen to it, because I could not be a person who couldn't have children. I couldn't be that kind of a person that couldn't have a baby, that couldn't have, and I know that they were all unanswered prayers, thank you Lord Jesus, You know that Garth Brooks song, Unanswered Prayers? Um, but it's been devastating to know that I cannot have children, and being a daughter to God and being a disciple, I've listened to him, and we've had long talks, and to know that I'm not going to have my own children because it's his will for me to not have my own children, I think hurts 1,000 times more, being that I'm just not chemically made to have children. And I've always wanted children, and lately I'm just dealing with that a lot. Is that why would God put such a passion, such a desire in my heart to have children when I can have none of my own? And I know everybody's going to say, you know, fostering's not that bad, adopting is not that bad. It's different when you want your own and can't have it. And just because it is what it is doesn't mean that you can accept it any easier, any better than just because things are the way they are. It doesn't mean that the heart wants what it wants, and you cannot talk your heart into wanting something else when it's set on a certain destination. Come here, Mama. Oh. And Maggie is my go-to baby when I need cuddles, because she's heavy and she's a sleeper, and she's a big girl, and she's got such a cute little cuddly feel body. I started getting into reborns because I had such a void in my womb. A woman that wants children so bad, you can feel the emptiness in your womb. You can feel it in your heart. And I think until I do have children, I'm just going to keep on buying reborn after reborn after reborn, because I'm trying to fill a void that cannot be filled. It's like nothing you can imagine unless you've been through it yourself. So cute. Put her sock on first. I cannot have children. My body, my chemical makeup cannot have children. And even if it could, I can't carry a child because of my back, because of my scoliosis, and probably also because of my lower back. And getting mad at God is not the answer, but there's such an ache in my heart to have children. I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what to do with myself. And it's every day. It never goes away. And I've not only been celibate for 10 years, but I've never had a boyfriend, not once. And admire somebody in the last 10 years. First of all, New York is not the place to have somebody to love you, because New York is the worst place in the United States. Just people are so jaded, and they don't trust, and just, I know it's everywhere, but New York is just, unless you live in it, and you just, you know. So, I don't know what to do. So I keep on buying reborns, because I just don't know what to do. It's a void. It's an everyday void. It's 24/7. And it never stops. It's a bottomless pit of pain and sorrow and long suffering and heartache that never stops. And as much as I love God, I'm not too happy with him right now. I know it's not per se God's fault, but I wish that He wouldn't have put such a desire in my heart, it's a fierce desire to have children, just so fierce. And it trumps everything. And I'm 41 and I've had a very hard life, just like everybody. I've had a very hard life. I've had a lot of people judge me and look at me with disdain because I'm disabled, and you know, people don't choose their disability. They're born with it, or they get it after they were born by an accident, but they certainly don't choose it. You know, we're not online in heaven before we're born saying, God, can you please give me scoliosis and all these other things. And even though mine is slight compared to many, so cute. It's just so in this time, in this last 10 years, I've got to know a lot about myself. And the one thing that remains is I want children so bad. And I can't get over it. I can't get over it. It's just every day. It never goes away. It might go on the back burner for a little while. That's why I try to keep myself busy a lot. Oh, Mama. Oh, poor baby. Oh, poor baby. Sometimes I forget her head is so heavy. She'd be kind of butt head sometimes, huh? Huh, are you sleepy? Are you sleepy, baby? Huh? Yeah. It's a little bit bigger on the neck. So, right now God really wants for me to concentrate on myself. He wants me to concentrate on being a better person, on challenging myself, and as far as men, unless God has somebody for me, which I'm not sure He does anymore. I'm not sure. As far as men, that ship has sailed. I've been celibate for so long, I don't even think I'd remember how to be somebody's partner, let alone a lifelong partner. And I'd rather talk myself out of it than to hope for something that is never going to come to pass. So until I can cope with this correctly and deal with it, I'm just going to keep on buying reborns and reborns and reborns, because that's the only thing that helps. Cute. So that's my story. And unfortunately, I have to stick to it. Oh, she's so cute. She's my little sleeper. I'm trying to fix her. I'm sorry if the camera has moved. cannot have children, and it kills me every day. And I don't have any prospects of a future with a man right now, let alone a good one. Here she is. Oh, sweet little pumpkin pie. Aww. She's my little cuddle bug. There's a story about a dragonfly that I have to tell you about, but that's not tonight. It's so cute. It's so cute. So, I'm not expecting answers, because if God hasn't given me any yet, I don't expect, unless you're an intercessor and it comes straight from the throne of God, I don't expect to get any answers. I'm not doing this for answers. I'm doing this to let you know when the days that I don't vlog, the days that I don't talk, I'm just really having a hard day. I do believe that I deserve somebody that God has for me. I do believe that. I do believe I'm worthy of that. So it's not a self thing. It's just, it hasn't happened yet. And if y'all follow the Bible, hopefully it will not happen at the age that Sarai had Isaac. Or Sarah and Abram, or Abraham and Sarai. Same people, they just change the names in the Bible. So, I love you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for listening. Bye, guys.